Hey everybody, getting ready to record the next podcast. So here we go. Jai Bhagwan, everybody, and welcome to the Ayurvedic Woman podcast and videocast. Wait, is videocast a word? I think it is, but if not, I just made it up. So today, let's talk about time. This morning I was out for my morning walk and time came into my mind in kind of a profound way. And what sparked it was I was walking down the street and I walked past this house that has its Christmas decorations still up. And it's St. Patrick's Day. By the way, happy St. Patrick's Day for those of you that celebrate. And so I'm walking by this house and still has the Christmas decorations up, like lights, and it still had this like green tinsel hanging around on the outside of one of the trees. And I thought to myself, wow, like those are still up? Like that's still a thing? Christmas is still a thing? And I'm a huge fan of Christmas. It's my second favorite holiday. My first favorite holiday is Halloween. But anyway, I then thought to myself immediately, like, Christmas really wasn't that long ago. It was only about 10 weeks in reality. And for most of us, it seemed like it was a lifetime ago, and a lifetime has passed. And it got me thinking quickly about how fast the brain moves and the impact that rapid brain movement has on our bodies and our spirit, specifically in the form of ojas and prana. And in reflecting on my last podcast about anxiety, I recall that the concept of time has been something that I've contended with and is immediately and intimately entangled with anxiety and has been since I was a kid. So as a child, and for the record, I have great parents and had an excellent childhood. And my father, who is a Vietnam veteran, he has contended with anxiety as a result of that. And he was always concerned about time. He never wanted to be late. Not that any of us want to be late. And he always felt like he needed to be the first one to arrive to things. And I would remember that we would go on these family vacations and he would be ready, like sitting in the car if we did like a road trip kind of thing. Sometimes we did it Griswold style. He would be sitting in the car like 3 to 4 hours before we had to go anywhere, like before it was even necessary for us to leave. And I couldn't really understand that, but I remember the energetic that came from that, which was like, I need to be in a hurry, and I need to be in a hurry all the time. And I want to be very clear, I'm not saying that my father did any of this to me, but rather the energy of all of this just kind of, developed that way as a result. And so as I grew up and into adulthood, I adopted that way of being punctual and seemingly always in a hurry to get onto the next thing. Now, punctuality, in my opinion, is a good thing, but being in a hurry, not so much. Culturally, we are encouraged to be in a hurry, or rather to have a rushed life that's filled with tasks throughout our day. Tasks that make us feel that we've accomplished something if we get them all done. But we never ask the questions. And these are some questions that came to my mind when I was thinking about this morning, is, are these rushed tasks necessary? And where are we headed? Like, where are we really going? And is this good for us? We just keep going along faster and faster, increasing our anxiety, heightening our emotional state, and zapping our ojas and our prana. These are vital parts to our health. Interesting. In Ayurveda, we talk about health and disease. One of the concepts that's spoken about when we talk about health and disease is, and specifically this is found in the Charak Samhita, one of the ancient texts, and it's the concept of time. And in Sanskrit, it's known as Parinama. And what Parinama means, what it translates to mean from Sanskrit into English, knowing that there's always, things in translation that can get lost, but essentially it means transformation or decay due to time and motion. So we transform and decay because of time and motion. Now, I've spoken about in a previous podcast about this specifically, but I want to loop it in again because I think it's really important to bring it into the modern day and how that kind of plays itself out. Let's go back to that idea of anxiety again. What if we embrace it, like I said in my last podcast, if we embrace anxiety as a superpower rather than a place of lack or fear or whatever? Fill in the blank with however you want to label that. If we embrace it as a superpower, then we have to embrace its connected parts. And one of those connected parts is time. As a person navigating through life currently, like all of us, time seems to speed up because we live in a rush culture. When time speeds up, it creates a rapidity that moves us out of awareness and consciousness. It's like driving down the road at 110 miles an hour and expecting to be able to take in the environment around you. Yeah, not going to be able to do that. Even if you look out the window, you cannot see the trees or the flowers or anything in the environment in any real sense. You have a perception of them being there as they go by very quickly. And in many ways, it's just a big blur. And so think about that as that gets created in our minds. The mind speeds up and then we've got a lot of blur that's happening. Plus, when you're speeding so fast, your ability to be conscious drops significantly because your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. And we become aware only of danger. So with fast minds, we start to think that danger is the only thing in our lives. So in essence, while living these sped up lives, we are inflicting on our own nervous system fear and danger. And we can't make good decisions. But going back to Parinama, the idea of decay through time and motion, we take into account the concept of time. And time comes in two forms from an Ayurvedic perspective. And I think philosophically, there's a lot of other traditions that would agree with this. There is linear time and there's biological time. And linear time we have no control over. As I mentioned on my Instagram live this morning, we cannot change the passing of time. We cannot slow it down. It is what it is as it is. And seconds are going to turn into minutes, and minutes are going to turn into hours, and hours are going to turn into days, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we are moving around the sun, period. Case closed. Biological time, however, is something we can control. We can take ownership of. We can claim for ourselves. It is based off the business factor, or the busyness factor. The busier we are, the faster time moves, and the faster we age and decay. So, busy, busy, busy. Decay, decay, decay. This is directly connected to the mind. The mind moves fast, we move fast. Time moves fast, we get closer to disease and death, ultimately. A mind that moves all the time at 100 miles an hour is imbalanced. Now, so many people tell me that I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time for X, whatever it is that they want to do, that they feel called to do, that they feel is who they are and who they want to become, but they don't. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not true. Sorry, but not sorry. I actually used to think that. I used to think that when I worked a 9 to 5, when I was going to school, when I was training as an athlete, and I was doing all this stuff, all the same shit most of you have and are doing, that we actually have the privilege to do. That's a whole other conversation. And we believe that we do not have enough time. And then one day, I believed that I didn't have enough time, and I decided, nope, I'm calling bullshit on myself. I don't have to speed up to do more. I have complete control over that. And as I say to a lot of my students, more isn't better, it's just more. So what I also realized was that I was spending my time on shit that didn't matter. Shit that was built on other people's expectations. The Buddhists say that suffering is part of life, but suffering is built on expectations. So I was giving my time away to others very freely, or other things, whether it's, an electronic device, whether it is an institution, whether it is people, doesn't matter. And I was giving this time away to others very freely, and for people and institutions and devices that did not have a vested interest in my health, wellness, growth, balance. And this applies to everybody. When we look at biological time, what has happened over decades of our lives, my life, I'll speak for myself here, what has happened is that we have created a programming within ourselves to speed up so we can do more crap that doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I'm such a horrible person. No, actually, I'm just, it's flabbergasting when you come to these realizations. I was speeding my life up to do crap that didn't matter. And as a result of that, we then make excuses about why we don't have time to do the things that make us better. Calling bullshit. Make biological time yours. Claim it and own it. In my anxiety example, part of my years of struggle with it comes down to the associated relationship it has with biological time. The more I sped up under other people's expectations, the more anxiety I had. The more anxiety I had, the faster time went, and the more physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual decay I had. And guess what? We call this, friends, we call it burnout. So going back to making anxiety your superpower, which I'm all about, listening to its call to wake us up and bring us closer to awareness of our Dharma, means we also have to stake claim of our biological time. You can't separate the two. If anxiety is the energy that moves us, why not reprogram ourselves to use our biological time, the one we have complete control over, the form of time that we can make choices on how to use, and move toward our goals rather than living in a world of expectation. Use your time wisely. So friends, stop doing stupid shit that doesn't matter, that takes up headspace and your energetic resources. Get rid of all of it, and you will see your glow come back and the life you want to come into focus, and eventually it becomes your reality. Ladies, if you want to start to step into your best life, join the Woman Warrior movement I have started. If you visit my website, www.satyavanirising.com, and I'll put that in the description of this video cast and podcast so you can access it quickly, click on the Woman Warrior Circle and become a founding member. There is a lot of great content in there and even more on its way. I have these amazing content contributors who are women just like us, who are in the fight every single day, doing the work, and look at the world from this Ayurvedic, yogic, and spiritual practice perspective. And the Woman Warrior online training program is in development, and it is on its way in this space as well. So I would love for you to join the circle, get into the resources, start making the connections with the other women that are there, and hang out and ask questions, and let's raise one another up. Let's get through this. Okay, that's it for today, my friends. Jai Bhagwan, and as always, may your soul be victorious.